the upper left in this semifinals from the KSL on the new maps and the new patch, he is Dark. And his opponent in the upper right in the blue, the baby blue, I guess, in this map's lighting, his name is Gumiho. And I know I've talked about this before, and I will continue talking about it again pretty much until the end of time, because I am so freaking happy that we have 9 maps in the pool. This means that we can have, as I cast the Hero series earlier, we can go and have different maps for different series, different maps for different matchups, different maps for different players, which is just super cool. A player like Gumiho can say, yeah, look, I want to play mech. I want to have at least one mech map in the pool for me, so I'm going to ban out. There are enough maps that are short, there are enough maps that are long that I can go and just get rid of the map that I don't, the couple of maps that don't allow me to do that. I can force this in because we're allowed to have, it's not this map right here, it's not Equilibrium, but there's a map with a 45, I think it's a 45.7 second rush distance, which is just incredibly long. Like that is, I haven't gone back and done the history yet, but that is one of the longer rush distances that we've had in StarCraft 2 in quite a while. But we can get away with it because if that is really bad in a certain matchup, it can just it can just be removed. And then if you're Maru and you want your maps to be as long as possible, regardless, even if it is technically, say, bad in TVZ, you know, Terrans don't love long maps. Well, if you're Maru, you can pick it anyways. Ban out a map that maybe is goes for something else. I don't know. I don't know exactly how players are going to adapt to this because, you know, we have the balance patch and it's big and it is significant. And knowing this is Gumiho, I expect to see some cyclones getting played here today in this series because, well, it's A, Gumiho, and B, the cyclones are really good against Zerg. So I expect to see that. Absolutely. But, and again, when you're talking about the balance patch, that's a big deal. That is a lot of changes to pushes against Terran with the Baneling HP buff being reverted, all of those things. Yeah, that's a big deal. But if we're gonna take a look at this, and my settings didn't save, I fixed it. I know I had this correct this time, but the settings didn't save. Anyway, I think personally, like at the highest level, at the competitive level, I think this map pool change is almost bigger than the balance patch, and I know that's a controversial decision. Oh, that's a very controversial decision with the Baneling change, and the Cyclone change, and the Raven change, and the Ghost change, and everything. But this is the first time our very competitive, like the competitive format that we have grown so used to. You have a best of 3, you have 4 vetoes, you have a best of 5, you have 2 vetoes, best of 7, no vetoes, and map pools get designed around that. This is the first time in I can't even think of how long, since the start of the game maybe, that the baseline competitive format that defines how a series goes has been changed. That's a big deal, and I'm so excited about it. But for now, this is an early medevac coming out of Gumiho here. He wants to go for a Hellion drop early on, 3 Hellions in a medevac. Oh, I had things to say about this being a Hellion drop because, well, there were 3 Hellions on the map, and with a medevac, that makes sense. That really does make a lot of sense. It one-shots drones, okay. But Gumiho is doing something a little bit different here. He's got 7 Marines in a medevac, and I think he's trying to snipe Overlords. I think that's going to be the place. So he's going to find his first one here down by the gold base in the middle of the map. Now, another Overlord is in his own base, so he should be able to deal with that one as well. And is he going to get... Oh, he's going to get a third one here. Dark is not pulling his Overlords back, so Dark is about to be pretty heinously supply blocked in with the Lynx here. I mean, there are Hellions. Okay, one Hellion's going to get chased down. I guess actually, no, it's not going to be enough. There are more plentiful Lynx, but actually as the Marines pop out here as well, yeah, they're not going to be able to save this. This is going to be another dead Overlord, 3 on the map. Well, I'm assuming 3. Yeah, 3 dead Overlords on the map, plentiful Lynx as well. I love this move from Gumiho early on. He has done so much damage to Dark in the early game without getting a single drone. And now into the main base, he's going to try to find himself, denying creep. And with these Marines on top, with the healing that they have, well, okay, he's going to be able to elevate her a little bit, save most of everything, and that's going to be it. That's going to be the end of this pressure for the time being. But let's take count. For a single Hellion and a single Marine, 150 minerals. He gets 3 Overlords and 5 drones worth of links. But realistically, the 3 Overlords are the big deal because he was kind of hitting that as Dark wanted to really hit the burners on his supply, on his worker, on his income. Really start to kind of run into that mid game. And because that all went down, because 24 supply disappeared in the blink of an eye, well, all of a sudden Dark has to go build a lot more. He's got to go and build more Overlords, and that's larva, that's minerals, that's time. Look at this position here. Dark's going to try to take the rich gas, rich gold, which, by the way, only 3 mineral patches. It's going to mine out very quickly. And it seems kind of hard to hold. There is a high ground right here for tanks to find themselves. There's a gap in the wall. I don't know how you're supposed to hold this, but Dark is maybe going to show us. Or maybe he's just going to die. I think this is just dead. I don't see a world. Yeah, no, cancel that one. That's a ballsy play. But as we kind of look at how this map is set up here, I mean, I guess Dark probably should have taken the core 4, this triangular 4th base. It seems a little bit easier. It's not like there are tons of scary pushing positions with that. But regardless, he tried to take the gold. It didn't work. And now, well, this just means Gumiho will continue to push on the map. His 1-1's halfway done. It's actually going to be faster than the 1-1 of the Roaches. And here's actually what I'm really curious to find out. Dark doesn't have an infestation pit yet. But one of the changes out of this new balance patch, one of the changes that they made was they removed pathogen glands. They said, hey, we don't like it that infestors pop out, and then there's about 20 seconds, 25 seconds, I think, about 25 seconds, where infestors just don't do anything without pathogen glands. They spawn with 50 energy. You need 75 energy for a fungal to happen. So we're just going to nerf the fungal, and so 2 fungals don't one-shot Marines. But we're going to give an infestor 75 energy on spawn. So we're gonna make it so that they spawn immediately useful, but that utility is not quite as strong. Kind of playing a middle of the road idea. But instead, Dark, he wants to just go all in, I guess, in this game. He's got a Nidus on the way, 1-1, just about done here. So he's gonna run, just sledgehammer onto the other side of the map with the first set of Roaches and Ravagers. And then it's knocking down reinforcements. The Nidus is not to get into the main base, but it is really just for those reinforcements. As Gumiho, he vacates his 3rd right as this pressure's coming. He doesn't know what's happening here. He sees the Lings coming in, but that's just about it. He needs this army here. There is like 2 tanks, and here comes the army of Dark. But the Widowmines actually do a really nice job at the start. Gumiho unloads everything on the north side. He's got a timer for when he's strong. It's about 70, 60 seconds away when 2-2 is done. But for now, these Roaches of Dark, they're going to try to run pell-mell in. Scan goes down, and Gumiho's going to see things. But the Nidus in the main base, this is going to be maybe a problem. Gumiho, he doesn't see it. Now he's going to try to fight on the left side. He needs to pick this army up, just run back into the main. He's going to try to fight as well as he can. But it's solid. He's killing a lot of Roaches, but the Nidus in the main is a problem, and it is not one that Gumiho has been able to solve until right now. Some more Roaches, War Queens, they're going to find their way into the main base, and Gumiho has to vacate the premises. Roaches in the 3rd, Roaches in the main, a second Nidus outside of this 3rd base, and all of a sudden here, Gumiho, he's in such trouble right now. Splitting this army when he's down 30 army supply is such a hard thing to do. Do you keep it in the main? Do you keep it in the 3rd? Dark can go both sides, but the Roaches now they're going to try to find in the main. The saving grace from all of this is now the Nidus outside of the 3rd is dead, and more importantly, they don't instantaneously pop out. That has been nerfed once upon a time. And this concave from Gumiho is really, really nice. 2-2 is about 30 seconds away here, and the concave from Gumiho continues to try to fight as well as he can. These Roaches, now they're starting to go down. Gumiho, Widowmines, they're going to come off cooldown in just a second here. You got to run, Dark. Widowmine shots on the backside. No, they get dodged. And the Nidus will fall down. And now we have to take stock. Now we have to just take a breath for a second. Dark came so freaking close to breaking Gumiho there. And at the end of the day, 23 SCVs go down. 46 roaches, 63 Marines. But the big deal, of course, is those 23 SCVs that Gumiho lost. He's only on 3 bases. His economy doesn't jump right back up all that easily, but he does have this significant upgrade lead. He's got 2/2 plus 3 attack on the way, but no armor yet. He doesn't have the minerals for it in a change of pace. Generally, in this stage of the game, yeah, eventually, a Terran doesn't care about gas as much, but kind of at this stage, you do very much care about that gas count. And that's often, sometimes why a Terran can't afford their +3. This time, Gumiho's broke, but he's going to try to push on this +2 concussive shells timing anyways. Couple Marines Marauders, they're going to get found out here. This army from Gumiho is substantively better than what the Zerg has. He's going to stem right on top. +2 attack done in 3. But even still, there will be no armor. This army will die so quickly here. The tanks firing as well. Gumiho kiting backwards as well as he can. But the swell of roaches just seems like it's a little bit too much. The Widowmine drop on the other side trying to do something. But Gumiho, honestly, the supplies turn out really nicely on top of this. It is equal army supply for the most part, but our tank count is non-existent. It's 4 Marauders, 35 Marines. That is it. Widowmines now going to burrow into the natural here. They both should get their burrows off, but only one's going to get the shot off here. Even still, 5 workers go down. Drop on the bottom left side. It's going to force Dark back home. He can't run onto the other side of the map like the way he desperately wants to. It's just not going to happen. When the drops that are like this, you cannot afford to. The big downside of this army that Dark has built for himself is mobility. That is really the big deal. You cannot deal with it. The stimming dropping Terran will always have the leg up on the mobility of your army. But to send 30 roaches onto the other side with tunneling claws on the reveal here, yeah, it's going to find a bunch of reinforcements. There was a missile turret, but it doesn't really matter all that much. 4th base is going to get delayed for a time, and Gumiho, much like he forced out of Dark, he's going to have to run right on home. Now, big deal here. There's a wall in the natural. Missile turret's going to go down. Scan catches these roaches that are going to try to find their way into the main. So that actually is going to get dealt with for the most part. Not that crazy damage. And Gumiho, this is a quad drop into the main base here. Yeah, 1 medevac fell, but that is a lot of damage potential here. Queens will fall here as well, kiting away. And I guess a Marine's going to go down. Gumiho could have saved it. He probably should have saved it, but he's just so insistent on getting this damage done. Has to run away from the biles. It will hit, but not going to kill anything. And Gumiho now, his economy is just, he needs to build more SCVs, is the long and short of it here. He only has 47. Scans have to get used for these burrowed roaches now, so his economy is just, it's just not good. He's down 1,000 resources compared to Dark here, so he's just trying to win on efficiency, and he is at 4,000, but a fungal, it's actually not going to land on the bile. The second one will, and that's going to be the end of that drop. We talked about mobility. We talked about how good drop pressure is from the Terran against this roach army. That changes when infestors hit the field. Suddenly, you have the ability to make it so medevacs can't pick up. So a stim just damages you. You're really not moving that much faster, and damage on top of it. There was a time, aka about 5 days ago, when the 2 Funkles would kill Marines 100-0. That is no longer the case because the damage has been nerfed, but they're still a scary unit. And remember now, as they pop, they have the energy for Fungal. So especially here, Gumiho has to be very, very careful, and he would love a Ghost Academy. He really would. Nice eyes there. It's only a single roach, but I mean, Gumiho has always been known for his observer scouting abilities, so to see the single roach, it shouldn't surprise me. But still, we got to give him credit. That's really good vision. And now this, what was this? The attempted 6th base from Dark is going to get sniped down here on the 3-3 bio. But we need that Ghost Academy out of Gumiho. We need that 4th base. And now, finally, the 4th Command Center is gonna complete. It's been canceled, I think, twice now. But Gumiho feeling comfortable as he's not maxed out, but he's not maxed out. He's approaching it. And we talked about resources last year. We talked about trading efficiently. He's up 4,000 resources, and Dark only has 57 drones. Yeah, 3-3 is on the way. Yeah, we're moving on to Lurker Tech eventually. But Dark's economy's, it's been better than Gumiho on 47, But now that we're looking at the max out, I mean, the supply is big because it's roaches. The supply is not big because it's a strong army. There are 6 infestors that really does help. 5 hydras helps a little bit. But the roaches here, 36 supply of roaches are just not where you want the majority of the eggs in your basket. Although I guess in fairness, it's not quite the majority of the supply. You have a bunch of ravagers as well, and that is a little bit more efficient. But this marine count is terrifying me here. Yeah, 2 fungals don't kill marines anymore, but big fungals plus biles absolutely can kill things anyways. So this tank will go down as Dark trying to put that pressure on the map. We're gonna have to see what happens here. Now running through the choke, the tanks have to siege up. This is terrifying, but the fungals will be the disengage there. Gumiho is gonna be okay, but so too is Dark. And Dark's just buying time. He's got lurkers on the way. He's got 3-3 halfway done. Lurker burrow speed, although in this case, that now with them nerfs, they don't make him move faster. They only make them burrow and unburrow faster. Actually, I think it's just burrow faster. They don't even make them unburrow faster. So not nearly as impactful of an upgrade as it previously was, but Gumiho finally, he's got his 4th base 16 minutes into this game. He's taking his 4th. He's developing some semblance of an economy here. Now, these liberators are a big deal, but those fungals are fantastic. There's no follow-up, though. You need more. You need biles to hit. You need lurkers to burrow on top, and they're just not doing that at all. So one Viper's going to go down before it does anything. Marines run forward. They're trying to get the second. They're not. This Concave coming out of Gumiho right now is a dangerous thing. It's a most dangerous game. The lurkers now, they're done. They're ready, and Lurker Infestor is a hard thing to deal with here. Now, the fungals will start to land a little bit more. The Liberators here, they're doing so very much. Gumiho stimming in, but the eye test is one thing, the supply is another. It's 193 to 130, but Gumiho's pushing it anyways. It's all stuck in the reinforcements. Gumiho, if he can push through right now before the reinforcements are ready, this is going to have to be his timing. But Dark's got so many hydras on the way, 28 of them now coming through the middle of the map. So Gumiho, it felt so good. It felt so good. But instead, he's just dead. Instead, he is just dead. Rarely do we see a game where you look at what's happening on your screen and you see what's happening on the production tab and you see what's happening on the supply count, and they're so different. But that was that right there. Gumiho almost, but not quite. In Dark, he's going to take a 1-game lead in this series. And the upper right in the red, up a game on Alcyon here in the semifinals. He's Dark. And to the bottom left in the blue, down a map, looking to take us to game number 3. He's the blue Terran. It's Gumiho. And what a... Oh, man. You know what? I can't truly argue that the balance patch had too much impact on that last game. Maybe the fungals. We didn't even really get to the point where the lurkers were doing all that much. I mean, maybe we can argue. Maybe we can argue that the reason that Dark did not go Banelings, he went that roach play, was because the Banelings were nerfed. But let's be real. He's been playing this style or some variant of this style for a couple months now. So to blame that on the nerfs is just, if it was, actually, I don't even know. I was going to say if it was Cyril, but Cyril's been playing this kind of nouveau roche style. I mean, he prepped a lot of those builds for Gamers 8, and we saw him use them to dominate Masters Coliseum. So, you know, even with that, maybe if we saw like a laser playing like that, maybe say, okay, it might be because the Baneling changed, but I don't think so. That's just how Dark's been playing, and from Gumiho, none of the changes really affected things all that much. Now, the maps, of course. But Dark, he's opening up with a very early Roach Warren here on Alcyon, which is a really cool map. I know we talked about it. No, that was in my Discord. If you want to talk about Starcraft, join my Discord. But this is a very cool map because it is 2 maps in 1. Kind of like a Golden Wall, but a little different. So these four bases, they are guarded by a wall here, by mineral wall here, but also rocks. Rocks in the middle and a tiny mineral wall, and same thing across. If you want to go onto the bottom right side, if you want to go on that half of the map, really, you have to mine through a mineral wall. And what this means is it doesn't really matter too much in this game, but it means that we are going to see some wild proxies. As the Reaper, did it see the Roach Warren? It did. Okay, so Gumiho knows exactly what's happening. Anyway, we're going to see some absolutely wild proxies, because it's going to be nigh impossible to scout or shut down. By shut down, I mean shutting down the actual buildings. You can kill the units, of course, but it's going to be an interesting time. I'm really looking forward to it. But for now, that's not what we see here. This is roaches onto the other side of the map. 19 drone roach timing. And it's really just trying to punish this two racks expand build that Maru's been playing and Beyond's been playing and Gumiho's been playing as well. But there's going to be a bunker going down, concussive shells on the way, marauders. I don't really think this works out super well, but Dark is insanely supply blocked. I didn't realize this at first, but Dark got stuck at 36. This is the prototypical, I'm a Zerg player and I got distracted for a second supply block. It is so easy to get supply blocked at 36. When you're getting your queens, you're getting your 2 queens, you're getting your drones as the eggs pop. If you don't get that 28 Overlord, you're in for a world of hurt. You got to build a couple Overlords at a time. And Dark made it even harder for himself. He built, what was that, 4 roaches, I think? Yeah, he built 4 roaches. That's 8 supply right there. That's an Overlord right there. Your timings are just... it's not good. And on top of that, this build is not a build we've seen from Dark really all that often. Not all that much at all. So Reapers get into the main base here. 3 Reapers, 2-shot drones. So they get through. 2 drones go down. Now these Reapers will fall at the end of the day, but maybe they're going to get another KDA charge. They're going to get a 3rd. Getting a Ling here as well. No, they're not going to get a 4th. Ling speed done in 10 seconds. And, well, 1 Reaper gets out. So, hey, you get the rescout. 2 Reapers die, but you get 3 drones. You get a scout. You get a Ling. Lings don't matter nearly as much, but you get the rest of it. Not bad. And now we're seeing staggered bunkers coming out of Gumiho here. He's got concussive shells. He's building more marauders. Tanks are on the way here as well. He kind of got a read that Dark wants to do a little bit more with this. Exactly how much Dark wants to do with this? Well, it remains yet to be seen. But for now, Dark does seem to want to do a little bit more. Even still. Bunkers are halfway done. Or, not bunkers are halfway done. Bunkers are done. Stim is over halfway done. So I don't really think that we're going to see too much more out of this pressure from Dark. But as I say that, he's building more Ravagers. He's pumping more Lings. He's cut drones at 34. More Overlords on the way here as well. Dark is... oh, this is interesting from Dark, actually. So what he's trying to do right now is go and make sure... trying to catch the army of Gumiho as he runs out. He thinks Gumiho is going to try to go and take advantage of the stim timing and the concussive shell timing and run across the map and punish a greedy Dark. So Dark kind of playing a, you don't know that I don't know play, as this bunker is just going to get salvaged. He's just going to try to go and catch the army in the middle of the map. That's not what Gumiho is doing. Now, the Biles, they're going to land a little bit. You want to keep combat shields alive. That's an important upgrade. But Stim's on top. One Ravager goes down. And now cutting backwards here. There are 2 tanks. Now, friendly fire is a problem, but the Marines, they're going to all kite backwards here. And this is just all the Ravagers dead. All the Lings dead as well. It's a disaster. It's an unmitigated disaster for Dark right now. He's sold out on this idea that, wow, Gumiho is going to think that I'm going to drone super hard because that's what I do. And when he buys that, I'm going to kill his army in the middle of the map. And if Gumiho had decided to move out, if Gumiho had decided to put that pressure on, I think Gumiho would be... I think we'd see Dark moving into the grand finals right now. But as it stands, Gumiho's up a couple workers. He's got his 3rd base on the way. I mean, yeah, Dark has his 3rd done, but the worker count's a problem. And he's only on 3 queens. This creep spread is, dare we say, non-existent? It's not good. I mean, he's got a couple tumors out because he had some, I guess he had some spare energy on the queens just because of how the build works. But he does not have a lot of creep spread, not a lot of defensive utility in this game. So now Gumiho's gonna feel very happy moving on the map. Notice he's not just beelining. Okay, yeah, no lings. You can't do that. He's not just beelining. He's establishing this pushing line that he wants to go for, knocking the rocks down. And the key thing about this, by only knocking one set of rocks down, it means that he has chokes to fall back onto. Like right now, as the lings come in from every side. Maybe it's not a choke to fall back onto, as the tanks will eventually fall, but they will trade their lives dearly. So many lings go down. And I think in the annals of this game, Gumiho's going to be pretty happy about that. He didn't win the game, sure, but he killed a lot of lings. 75 dead. I mean, he would have loved to keep the tank alive as well, and that is very much true. You can often judge the state or the power of a Terran push by how many tanks they've been able to keep alive. There was a time when DRG was just really good at ZVT, where you would notice he was just killing tanks every time with banelings. He's just wanted to make sure that the tanks went down, because that's how a Terran push gets out of control, and the tanks continue to survive, and suddenly you're looking at 5 tanks and just questioning your very existence. How in the world do you come back into that game? How in the world do you take a fight when there are 5 tanks and Widowmine starting to hit the field? But that is not the case here. Gumiho's got about 1 tank, I think, with this army. It's hiding in the medevac. But this creep spread is just so effectively curtailed. And Gumiho's got +1. +1 armor. Sure, it's lacking, but 1-1 for the Zerg is just so far away. So I don't hate this out of Gumiho. There's a world where he could just try to run through and end the game, and that would be valid. He's up army supply against roaches. But a great man once said, why win ahead, get more ahead. And that's pretty much what Gumiho's doing right now. He's shutting down vision. He's killed, I don't even want to ask, 5 overlords this game. He killed so many in the previous game as well. He's just denying so much map vision out of Dark. It is kind of ridiculous, to be totally frank. Dark has this really tiny little, I mean, he's got a ling on the map that's going to get a scout for a second. Dark has the north side of the map just barely. He has so little space on the map here. He doesn't even have a 4th. So when's he going to scout this drop? Right now. Queens are in proper position, and that's a good deal, but it's a hard knock life for Dark here. Bio's gonna stim on top of these roaches. Tanks on the low ground are just shelling away. Bios are gonna, I mean, they are stacked, so these both tanks will go down, but the Bio's just gonna kill everything else. 4th base gets canceled. Roaches, Ravagers, they all fall down, and Dark is dead. He overcommitted in the extreme to that follow-up aggression, and Gumiho kind of steamrolls him. We're going to game 3. The bottom right now, overcommitting just a little bit in that second game. Looking to move on to the finals. He's Dark. And of course, his opponent in the upper left on Delta. It's Gumiho. Delta, kind of a fun map. It's big. There are, what is this? It's funny. I look at these maps. I'm like, wow, that's so many bases. And then you realize that actually, no, it's 7 bases that you can realistically take. You know, oh, I can't count. Yeah, no, it is. Yeah, no, it is 7 that you can realistically take. I'm not dumb at all. 5 bases on the left side, 5 bases on the right side, then kind of a pocket 2. And then you have this base in the middle. That's a lot harder to take. That means that as the game goes late, we're going to have probably players fighting over these high ground positions that are so far away. I mean, I guess technically this base is the Zergs in this case, and this is the Terrans because you extend high ground all the way through. But these are going to be hard bases to take, and more importantly, they're going to be hard bases to hold, which is what you want in the late game. You want those 7th, 8th bases, the last base, really, that you want the last base on the map, or the last kind of base each player is going to take on the map. You want it to be hard to deal with. You really do want it to be difficult to hold, because what that means is that there will be constant fighting. It means that you're less likely to enter the late game doldrums of like late game Ghost Mech versus Zerg, or Sky Toss versus Zerg or something. You're just less likely to get that because it's harder to turtle up the last base. And I think in general, on first glance, because this is actually really my first time taking a look at this map, I think in general, this map, as big as it is, I don't think it's going to be super turtleable. The third base has a low ground, so that's hard to defend. There's a lot of high ground around, so you're not attacking up a ramp. There's a wide choke. I guess the fourth and the fifth are somewhat defensible from a high ground position, and that's kind of what this base gives, but I'm really curious to see how late game starts to look on this map. I think this is going to take a lot of development, but for now, Reaper just putting some pressure on. And is this a game from Gumiho that we see Cyclones? So Cyclones were changed to be a very different unit. They're really, I like this term that I use that seems other people seem to be using as well. Because I think it's pretty accurate. They're the Mech Marine. They are a reactorable, fast unit in the early game that do a lot of damage, that don't have that craziest HP, but they can kind of weigh. They just kind of serve as the DPS backbone of an army. Multi-purpose. Good against everything. They really do fill the same role as the Marine for the most part. So I'm curious to see whether, and also they're just really good against Zerg. They shred lings, they shred queens, they shred roaches. They don't have the bonus damage to armor anymore. Now they're bonus damage to mechanical, which technically takes away power from the TVZ matchup, but it doesn't matter because they just do so much damage. And Zerg units in general are just lower HP than the rest of the units on the field. Like a Ling has, not a lot of HP. So for now, the Reaper Hellion is on the map, and seems like Gumiho. I guess for now, we're not going to see the Cyclone idea. I was really hoping we would see it at least once in this series. Just, it's a lot of controversy. It has caused significant controversy in the scene. People are talking about how maybe too strong. It remains to be seen. I'm hearing people say it's actually not all that strong, except at the very highest level, but I don't know. I haven't played enough games against it yet. Well, Gumiho is not doing that. Gumiho is playing, in fact, he doesn't care about the patch at all, which I guess is fair. These games were played pretty much night of the patch. Patch drop Thursday and KSL was Friday night, so 24 hours in. And Gumiho is just going for Old Faithful. I can't think of any reason why the changes to the patch, the changes in the patch would make you more likely to go for a Hellbat Marauder drop. But that is exactly what Gumiho is going for. Here. Hellbat Marauder aggression. Yeah, concussive shells drop on top of the queens. Oh, it's such a good scout from Dark, though. Ling is going in at 445, see the Marauders, and now Dark knows exactly what's happening. More Lings are going to get pumped here. I'm somewhat surprised we actually don't see more queens on the production tab. Dark just pumped out 12 drones. I guess he feels comfortable with what he's got. It's 20 Lings, it's 7 queens. This is still potentially difficult, and we're going to see this Hellion go down as well. So Dark, or excuse me, not this Hellion, this Overlord go down. So Dark's now supply blocked, building roaches. Ling's on the backside trying to get on top of these Marauders, but they can't. And now, well, the Viking has to run back just a little bit. Queens are not getting on top of this medevac, so Queens on the right side, they're getting pretty low, and some of them will go down. Drones have to get pulled away here. I don't think that Dark gave this the credit that it deserved. Queens, they're healing up as well as they can, and more Hellbats, more Marauders are starting to waddle their way forward. Dark got the perfect scout. He saw the Marauders, but it just apparently it doesn't matter. Apparently, I'm not exactly sure what change we attribute this in the patch to, but apparently 5.0.12 means Hellbat Marauder pushes are now really good. As now drones on the backside are going to try to fight as well as they can. We're going to see this Roach go down, and now it's a Hellbat fighting drones. There's not enough healing on it, so that's something, but the third base is dead. Dark is maybe not dead in that he hasn't tapped out of this game, and technically he's still up 4 workers, but he is a dodo. He is deader than a dodo. He hails from the, the late Cretaceous period, and is not good. He is in so much trouble. And you know, it actually makes sense that he hails from the late Cretaceous period, because that roaches look like dinosaurs. So there we go. But dinosaurs are also extinct. Well, actually, for the most part, technically birds are non-avian dinosaurs. So let's see if Dark can turn himself into a non-avian dinosaur as well. Or, excuse me, avian dinosaurs. Dinosaurs are non-avian dinosaurs. Let's see if Dark can pull out a miracle. Let's see if Dark, with these roaches and these ravagers and the double expand behind, can buy enough time to macro his way back into this game. I mean, there's no stim. That's something, but these Marauders, there are so many of them on the map, and they're just dodging shots on the medevac. That being said, Biles are starting to land a little bit. The Hellbats are mostly done, so you can reinforce with Lings, but this army continues to kite backwards, and now Gumiho running forward here, dodging the Biles as well as he can. Couple SCVs fall. But again, remember, Gumiho, his economy is just better. His economy is really and truly just better here, so the Army of Dark continues to fall down. Lings are on the way now. The +1's done. We're missing stem. We don't have that, but +1 armor halfway done. This is 8 racks? Yeah, well, it's a 7 racks. Close enough. It's not quite an 8 racks. Yeah. I'm really surprised we haven't seen Gumiho drop the 8th racks, but I guess he wanted to wait. Excuse me. I guess he wanted to wait until he had full 3-base saturation, or is he double factory on this? No, he's just 7 racks. Very weird there, Gumiho, but I guess he's gonna well, actually, I guess that's what it is. He's gonna keep building more Marauders than one normally would. I'm trying to see the logic here to not get the 8th racks, and actually that's what it is. He's kind of playing the middle ground between 5 racks, 4th base, and 8 racks all in, where he's got a 4th base on the way. It's not too late, but he does have a lot more bio production earlier. So much like that last game when Dark overcommitted, we're hitting this point where the Terran has, well, the Terran's got 1-1, and he's up in supply against a roach heavy player. Now the Lings are going to get a solid surround here, but Gumiho just cuts away from it. He's got such better upgrades that it really doesn't matter that the surround was there. He just killed all the Lings before the Biles could land. He got his way out of there. And now more and more Lings, they're just going to die. They're dead. Gumiho now again pressure on this 3rd base, and I am not sure what Dark's going to be able to do at this point. He just feels kind of dead. But this tank doesn't even bother to siege. The Ravagers, they're continuing to shoot as well as they can. They're going to get a tank. But the drop in the main base is only killed 5 workers. But these are a bunch of +1 Marauders. They have stim. This Slayer doesn't live all that long. I mean, +2 would be better, of course. +3 better still. But Marauders, buildings are armored. Marauders shred them rather quickly. So this drop on the right side is going to get a couple more Ravagers. They get 2. They're going to get 3. And yeah, they're dead. The Queens do a solid enough job of defense. But Gumiho's just swarming. He's up 30 army supply. And Dark actually, I didn't realize this. Dark lost the Bailey Nest. So Dark's having to rebuild that. And in the meantime, he's building Roaches and Ravagers for a tech that he hasn't really committed to. And 2-1's going to be done right around the same time that 1-1 is done for the Zerg. +2 armor, just not all that far behind. There's a tiny moment where the upgrade lead is not as bad as it was. Is this medevac? Oh, stays alive. Oh, it's going to get like one more. It's going to get like 1 or 2 more drones before the Queen's. It's going to get more than that, actually. 15 dead drones. And now the medevac's dead. And now that's gone. But at this point, 2-2 is just about done. 2-1 is done. And these roaches, they just can't fight. They really can't. The Terran's up 20 army supply with a better army as well. Dark taps out. This roach play did not work out. It was too aggressive, and Gumiho countered incredibly well. And more importantly, Dark didn't have the timing right. He thought he saw what was up. He thought he knew what was happening with the Hellbat Marauder timing, and his roaches were just a little bit too late. But if you like this game, you like this series, and you want to see more games with Maru and Dark and Gumiho and Raynor and Cyril and Bjorn and Clem and MaxPax, hit the sub to this channel. Means you don't miss anything, and like the video as well, because this was a pretty cool series. Let me know how you feel about the new balance patch, the new maps. We didn't really see the balance patch affect things all that much. What's your new favorite map? Let me know.